Alright, I'm doing a video today on vitamin Hormone A, and I'm looking at the screen right now and I'm seeing that it's all backwards. I swear I wrote it right. If anyone out there knows how to flip these videos so that it can be readable for all of y'all, that would be dope, or else I'll probably have to remake this video somehow and figure this whole thing out. But anyways, this suggestion goes out to Eddie, who's told me that my last couple videos he watched were great as far as content, but they could have been more understandable if I would have wrote a few things out so that for the visual learners out there who don't just like getting spoken to for as long as I speak. So that's why I made this one. And so today it's going to be vitamin hormone A deficiency symbols just to see, or signs of deficiency, so you can see, is this something that I should care about or should I just keep on doing what I'm doing? And so first things first, vitamin A and your skin are super linked. And so if you have healthy skin all the time, you can assume that you're getting vitamin A all the time, which means you probably have a good diet, you probably have a good digestion, or just ridiculously good genetics. Regardless, this is for people who suffer from things like acne, dry skin, sinusitis, which is of course the skin on the inside of your sinuses, laryngitis, dry or itchy eyes. These all can be common symptoms that people experience when their vitamin A isn't in their diet to the extent needed, or it's just not being digested to the extent needed. So I'm going to move on from that one. If you're in that boat, or if you're ever in that boat, these are some things that can help you to get out of it. So, how to aid your gallbladder and pancreas in the digestion of fats, because you need both a healthy functioning gallbladder and a healthy functioning pancreas to be able to digest fats properly. The gallbladder is what starts that process by putting out the bile that you need for that particular meal. And then later on, the pancreas comes in with its enzymes, particularly lipase, which is going to help you break down that fat to even smaller particles, which is then utilized. And so basically, to increase your bile supply, I wrote down here some helpful videos that you could check out that I've already made. So I have a video called heartburn / GERD / acid reflux solution. That's a great one. You can watch that to start getting your apple cider vinegar before your meals, which will help you digest everything, including your fats. And then melatonin is the master rejuvenation hormone, which is the reason I'm wearing these glasses. And since bile is something that's recycled within your body, watching that video is going to help you with recycling not just your bile, but recycling everything in you that's needed, and also taking out waste and stuff. So that's a good one to check out for everybody, those first two. And then I put a star next to the next one, and that's the liver and gallbladder flush introduction video, which I've shared, and that video will help you out with so many things. More than anything, it'll help you out with unclogging your gallbladder and liver, which is what's inhibiting you from putting out enough bile, and it's what's largely inhibiting people from being able to recycle the bile, because the bile ends up getting stored in these toxic stones that reside in either your liver or your gallbladder, depending on your situation. Usually both, though. And so that's a great video to check out once you're ready for it, and I'm happy to help you through that process. And then the fourth one is my video, Respecting Yourself, How to Be a Circadian Dork. That just goes over general time guidelines, how to use the sun to achieve health. It's a good video for everyone on any budget, just to make sure that not only are you spending money on good healthy food, but you're actually getting all of that nutrition directly into your body, instead of wasting it like most people do, eating at poor times with respect to the sun. And as far as that one goes, I don't mention it so much in the video, but always eat outside if you can. Now, if that's not an option, I'm sorry for your situation. I hope that one day you get out of that situation so that you can start eating in tune with nature. But until that does happen, just understand that any meal that you eat outdoors, away from blue light, and just under the natural sun or even in the shade, just anything that's natural is going to be better digestion than if you're indoors in an artificial environment. So also my video on vitamin hormone D, or immunity, that video is going to be a great one to watch, because vitamin A and vitamin D need to be in balance, and so that's a good one. Also, I didn't list on here, but my vitamin K2 video, another fat-soluble vitamin, that video is worth checking out if you're going to be taking or eating vitamin D, which I'm kind of leaning towards thinking it's probably best to take that from the sun, just because eventually, if you keep taking something that our body's supposed to be producing, just like melatonin, it's not ideal, I think. So if you can get it through the sun, or if you have the ability to move to the equator, just do those things. In my opinion, your health will be thanking you nonstop once you do. And also, for people who are scared to delve into the liver and gallbladder flush or not ready for it yet, a helpful herb would be milk thistle. Milk thistle is very cleansing for your liver, so that's a good one to start incorporating in your diet. And then I have listed here a helpful habit is just coffee enemas. That is probably a little weirder than many people, especially Americans, are ready for, but just realize that the rest of the world does not feel the same way as we do here about enemas. For instance, in Russia, if you're going to the emergency room before getting put on any sort of meds, they will make sure to do an enema to cleanse out anything that's going on in your system so they can see, A, do they even need to prescribe you any medicines, and also B, if they do give you any meds, they don't want it interacting with anything else that you already have in your body. So just giving that as a little tidbit of information to people who think that enemas are so out there, and they are in this country, but it's not that weird of a thing. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. And that basically just uses the caffeine of the coffee. You'll, of course, want to use organic coffee to help stimulate your liver to cleanse, and it's not going to help remove stones like the liver and gallbladder flush will, but it will help to shrink those stones slowly, one little bit at a time. So that's a great habit to start incorporating. And then I listed here some supplements that you can consider, and I wrote here ideally short term with supplements. That's my opinion on supplements in general. Just it's not something that you want to make a habit of, and the only reason that would be different is if you are missing an organ that corresponds to that supplement. So for instance, ox bile is something that if you've gotten your gallbladder removed, if you're one of the 700,000 people in this country who get their gallbladders removed every year, also 7 million people every decade, just to give you guys a little bit of the gravity of that situation. So if you're in that boat, like many are, ox bile is something that you're going to want to take before any meal that you eat with significant amounts of fats or protein for the rest of your life. That there's no real way around that other than just letting your health degrade, because bile is a needed component to digest those things. Another thing that you're going to need to be taking if you don't have a pancreas, or if your pancreas is for whatever reason not functioning properly, like a lot of people's pancreas aren't, lipase is the enzyme that the pancreas supplies. So if your pancreas isn't supplying that, or you don't have one, then lipase can help you out there. And those are things to try, even if, like I said, you don't have missing organs, but you're just trying to increase your digestion of fats so that you can get the fat-soluble vitamins, which is what vitamin A is. It's an animal hormone, and so the only reason, or I'm going to get to that in the beta carotene. But so here is some foods high in vitamin A I've listed. I have pastured turkey liver, and of course organic. Pastured beef liver, also organic at the top. Those are going to be super high in vitamin A. I recommend you eat those. And the good thing about liver or vitamin A rich foods, because vitamin A is a recycled nutrient, it's not something that you need to be eating on a daily basis. So if you get a good vitamin A supply like once a week, you're going to be on the way to healing your situation. And of course, there's always that relationship between stress and nutrients. So if you have a lot of stress, you're going to need more nutrients. If you have less stress, you're going to need less. And so just keep that in mind. Also, pastured egg yolks, ideally raw. So the best way to cook eggs is to lightly cook for digestion at least. Now you have your own taste preferences, that's fine. But for digestion, the best way to cook eggs, and this is a GAPS trick, is basically you just lightly cook the whites and then leave the yolks still runny. And that's because all the fat-soluble vitamins in the yolk are going to be best digested when it's raw. And so you can, of course, just pull it out and then eat those separately, like mix them in with your next one, raw goat milk kefir. I do that sometimes. But yeah, so pastured egg yolks, and the pasture is important. Organic's important, of course, unless they're your own chickens, then you know what you're feeding them, and you don't need to worry about those expensive labels. And raw goat milk kefir, yogurt, or cheese. And then I have a little thing down here that I wrote, and it's just basically if you don't ferment it, at the very least swish the goat milk around in your mouth until it's warm, so that not only it's easily digestible when it's warm, because our body doesn't like to digest things when they're cold, so that's an extra step that you'd have to do to warm it up. So save your body that step, and then also the more you swish it around in your mouth, the more your body gets to produce those enzymes that can break down everything in there, but especially the sugars, which are going to be handled, of course, if you ferment it. Those processes will take down the sugar significantly and turn that sugar into fats and vitamins. And so fermented is best for many reasons. I'm going to get into probiotics too on the next page. And then, so yeah, basically do not eat. I just wanted to list a couple things that a lot of people are eating all the time and need to stop. Like eating out, one of the main reasons I try to curtail my eating out is because most places, because of the cost, are going to be serving you hydrogenated oils that are usually GMO, usually canola, soybean. In my terms, I'd call those things very sketch, not only because they're cancer causers, but also because they cause liver and gallbladder congestion and inflammation, which is why they're cancer causers, because of that direct relationship between your liver and cancers of all sorts. But also, something you can do is curtail your sugar and alcohol usage, because both of those things are going to negatively impact your digestion, which is, of course, going to negatively impact all your absorption of all your fat-soluble minerals, or fat-soluble vitamins, as well as just everything else that you eat. So if you don't want to waste your money on food, the less you eat of these things and the more you eat of healthy fats like ghee or coconut oil, the better off you're going to be. And then eat more, I have down here, probiotics and raw foods. A lot of people eat primarily all cooked or processed foods, and you want to be eating some of both. Especially for me, I try to eat whatever raw food I do eat at the beginning of a meal. So like I'll start off with sauerkraut, or I'll start off with some raw oysters, or I'll start off with a piece of fruit. Just whatever you do to get those enzymes going in your system, you want to do that first, because if you eat it later on in the meal, it all kind of mushes together and you don't really have that same charge of enzymes that you give your body right at the get-go. So eat more probiotics and raw foods. I wrote down here kind of off the page, especially at the beginning of the meal. And so the last part, if there's any vegetarians or vegans out there who are like, what the hell, you didn't list any carrots or anything with beta carotene, which is not the same as vitamin A, because vitamin A is an animal hormone, and so our bodies can make it out of beta carotene, but they do not do that. It's not just a process that's very simple. So the only thing that I put a star near is avocado, because avocado has a decent amount of beta carotene in it, and as well as most of you probably know, has a decent amount of fat in it. So that combination in the vegetable or vegan world is the most ideal, just because it's a complete package and you can just eat that by itself and you don't need to worry about adding in some fats like I've suggested here to increase the vitamin A that you can uptake. So carrots and coconut oil or butter are another one I suggested. And there's many, by the way. These are just some ones that people eat commonly that I thought I'd list for you guys. So if you're eating mango, I recommend you could eat that with raw cheese or yogurt or something like that. Moringa leaves are super high in all sorts of vitamins and minerals. I think people should eat those more often. Same thing, I wrote coconut oil and butter. And then leafy greens of all sorts, eat those with coconut oil and butter, and it's going to increase the digestion of the vitamin A. Paprika is actually relatively high for a spice. And sweet potatoes, you can eat those with whatever you'd like, but just if you're eating beta carotene as your vitamin A source, just understand that it's going to be more work, because you need to eat that extra step of fat. And then also, just even if you do these things, it's nothing like eating liver or raw milk or Kerrygold butter, something that has vitamin A naturally in it, just because it's just much harder for our body to get through it. So Andreas Moritz actually says that there's no reason not to get all your vitamin A from beta carotene. He's also a vegan and not really into like high intensity workouts. I think the more you go towards a high stress lifestyle, whether that's self-induced because you really want to be the strongest and toughest you can be at whatever sport or activity you're doing, or because you just are very stressed out in general, the more you have high stress in your life, the more you're going to need, in my opinion, vitamin A in animal form to keep your levels sufficient. But also worth mentioning is the Weston A. Price Foundation, which I've been studying for a while, ever since I heard of that amazing man, and I follow up on what they're saying. And I read a thing that they put out, an article on Facebook, and it was basically saying that for adults, once you get past puberty, you can successfully turn beta carotene into vitamin A, but like I said, it's not as easy as just eating it already prepared. But they said, and I haven't looked into this too much, you people out there with kids might want to look into this more before trying to heal your kids' skin problems or sinusitis or whatever it is you're trying to remedy. With just beta carotene, they were pretty adamant in the article that pre-puberty it's very difficult, if not impossible, for kids to assimilate beta carotene into vitamin A. So if anyone else has more information about that, maybe a reason why that's not true, I'd love to hear it. Feel free to comment below. But yeah, I already mentioned all this stuff. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys liked the video. Really would like if somebody could tell me how to flip this guy, and also just feel free to check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/RavenHealth, or just Google Raven Health Community YouTube to find the rest of these videos. And y'all have a good night.